Joining us today, Miss Jaclyn Sklaver, board-certified nutritional specialist and licensed dietetic nutritionist. Her clients are hundreds of athletes, celebrities, and VIPs. Jaclyn, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on.
And thank you again, Jaclyn, for coming on. First, let's just go ahead and jump into your business. How long have you been working with professional athletes? Where you are today, kind of in your business, and just kind of run us through the process a little bit.
Sure. So this is my fourth season working with professional athletes. I started out interning my first year with preparing guys for NFL Combine, and it kind of went from there. After that year, I was like, this is what I want to do. I know for a fact this is what I want to do. And I went down to Atlanta for an internship from New York City, and decided to move down there to continue to pursue my career working with athletes. And I was there for 3 seasons, and then I came down to South Florida this season. So this is my fourth year, and it's been good. I love doing it. You know, I mean, I'm lucky. People say like, oh, you're so lucky to have your job. I worked really hard to get where I'm at, and I put a lot into it, but I do love doing it. So.
Yeah, it's a big time commitment, you know, because I've had a lot of therapists and nutritionists at times, you know, when I'm trying to, you know, get my mind and get my body going in the right direction. But it's you guys are so necessary. You're so necessary to what we need. I was going to let Meehan bring it up, but me being a bigger guy, I'm a retired athlete. Please, is there 1 or 2 things that you can tell me during this time that would help me out?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, you know, what are you drinking? Are you drinking calorie drinks? You know, and so are there things that we could be eliminating right away? So if you're just doing water, that's great. You know, unfortunately, a lot of people aren't just doing water. So if you're just doing water, that's number 1. And then I think number 2 is like, are you doing portion sizes are huge, you know? So the question is, it's not even so much about what you're eating, but it's how much of it are you eating? Because we can overeat healthy food as well. And right now during these COVID stuck at home times, it's about like, are you eating meals or are you grazing all day? Are you snacking all day? Probably not getting in the micro or macronutrients that you need, right? You're not getting in your protein, and you're not getting in the small like vitamins and minerals that you need, because you're grabbing easy carb foods and things like that. And that kind of fills you up, and then you don't have a solid meal, you know? So those are things that I've been trying to really make everyone aware of now, is try not to snack and try to still have set meals, even though your life isn't as, you know, in order.
For sure.
You writing all that down?
Yeah, I got it all. It's right here. It's right here.
Well, you brought up COVID. It is affecting everybody right now. How is it affecting you on a day-to-day? I mean, someone who needs to kind of be there and train somebody or make sure they're not snacking. How's your day-to-day?
I actually, about 80% of my clients I've never met in person. So I'm used to having Zoom is the way I've been working for a long time. It doesn't affect me that much in that sense. However, being based in New York City mostly, I would say a majority of my clients have, like, the flow has stopped. And even with athletes, I mean, I meet my athletes in off season, and we didn't have time to train in off season this year. People didn't come down to Florida, or if they did, they immediately went back home. So my business went from 100 to 0, basically. It really slowed down. Now I do have a client base that were with me before it happened, so we're kind of rolling with that. So as far as the way I do things, it hasn't changed as much, but as far as the flow of clients and new clients, it definitely has. People's priorities aren't on nutrition, although they should be. They definitely should be on nutrition right now, but they're just not, you know.
That was the question I was going to ask you next. Just how are your athletes, how are your client base, how are they reacting to all the new things that are happening right now? Do you have to push them even harder now because you're not in front of them all the time, or you're not able to have that kind of one-on-one relationship?
It depends. So I think in the beginning, some of my athletes kind of took a step back because they didn't know what was going on anyway with the teams and when things were going to happen and when things were going to go on. So I kind of lost some of them for a little bit, but then as soon as this virtual OTA thing started, they came back into the mix. And it's really a matter of having to get a routine down too. You know, I did scale back their calories and what they were eating as soon as we found out that they weren't going right into OTAs. But then as soon as this virtual OTAs, even though most of the teams aren't really enforcing workouts, you know, the guys are starting to ramp things up. So now they're like, okay, Jack, I need a routine. I want to be ready that when we do get called into the facility, I'm on an eating pattern, I'm on a routine, I'm on a training schedule, and I'm getting things going. So in the beginning, I lost them a little bit, but now people are back. And with my Combine Pro Day guys, you know, they're new to it, and all they know is dedication, right? So they just know whatever you tell me, I'm going to do. And it was more of usually they go back to their schools and they have structure there. So once again, it was just giving them the structure because, athletes are used to being told what to do all the time, right? They're not used to really being on their own. So so for training on their own, for eating on their own, people are like, what the heck? Please tell me what to do, So.
We talk about structure, and athletes are used to that. It's a big question right now. Everyone's training on their own. They're hopefully, conditioning their body on their own. From a professional's point of view, do you think that injuries, when we come back to normalcy, could be more prevalent this year? Could that be a thing?
I think that it's going to they're really going to have to pay attention to ramping things up and how's that going to play out, right? Because like the league says, not until every single facility is back in operation are they going to start, right? And then you technically would think you need 30 days to ramp everybody up and get them there. But what if it's August and that happens? I mean, what if it's September? Are they going to push it? Are they just going to push people into it? And I think right now it's really survival of the fittest. So the guys who have been able to train and who have been putting in the time are really going to shine. I was telling this to one of my athletes, like, I think if you were a superstar, right, before this season and you kind of laid back a little bit right now and you're not training a lot and somebody was right below you, but they've been putting a lot of effort, they can catch up to you right now. They can come in and really shine when the season starts. So it's the people that have been pushing through, I think, that are going to do the best. And there could definitely be injuries without a doubt. Hopefully the league will be smart about it.
I think you're going to see a big rise in people who are just kind of going back to what you were saying, that are kind of taking their game to the next level. And some people are just kind of complacent being where they are. When you said something about routine, I think that was very important, especially for the younger athletes out there. When you're coming in, just find what you have to do every single week, every single day. What are you going to eat? How are you going to eat? So I think the more you continue to push those routines for those younger players, that will make them have a better career in the long run for sure.
Yeah, and I think also the weekends, right? The weekends are where I always lose people, whether they're athletes or not. So, and now this is like a big weekend, right? Everyone's like in weekend mode. So I would tell them, like, if the sooner you get on board with this routine on the weekends, the sooner you're going to see the results, because you could be great 5 days a week, but if you're out doing whatever you want to do on the weekend because you like deserve it or you need a break, you're almost wasting, not to say you're wasting your time, but you kind of are, And so when you can get that flow and that routine down on the weekend, then you're really going to get ahead.
Well, what's your ratio for your clients on a nutritional versus workout basis? Are they allowed to have a milkshake, or can they have ice cream?
It really depends. And I always say, like, especially with my combine guys, because we have to put 10, 12, 15 pounds. I have one guy who gained 20 pounds in 8 weeks. So the rules kind of go out the door a little bit then. The one thing I say is no fried foods. We want to keep inflammation down. But if they have to be doing milkshakes to get in 1,000 calories 3 times a day, it is what it is. Go put those calories in that milkshake. Go drink what you have to drink. Long term, if you think about it, if you're eating really clean foods and you have to eat 5,000, 6,000 calories a day, what are you going to have, plates and plates and plates of rice and beans? You'd lose your mind. So there are times where we have to be practical of, like, how can we get this in and still be healthy? But like I said, the one thing I'm really against fried food, because the ultimate goal is to keep inflammation down. Now air fryers are amazing, right? Like air fryers.
Okay. I'm going to do some more reading up on those.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you can do everything. You could do wings in an air fryer. You can do chicken in an air fryer. I mean, they've really changed the game.
Okay. All right. Well, you motivated me to look into that a little bit, because you said no fried, and I kind of treat myself a couple times a month. I like to turn the fryer on sometimes. So that'll be in the back of my mind now. That
he's got a big deep fryer next to the grill. He comes in with 2 things of oil every week.
No, it's don't
every
listen.
week.
No, I'm doing good. No, I'm doing really good. When I retired, I was about 315 to 320. Now I weighed in last week at like 300. So I'm losing 5 or 6 a month. I'm not trying to, take any. I don't want to lose it too early. I want to make sure I'm doing it the right way. So I'm cooking, doing all the healthy stuff, the smoothies, and keeping my calories down. The snacking, I'll remember that too as well. Trust me, I took a lot of mental notes from this interview.
Yeah, snacking it's a habit. It's a habit changing, really.
You can send him a bill after this interview.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's all good. I definitely owe you something for sure. But no,
let's talk about the public gyms.
Yes.
Some protesters outside the gyms doing push-ups. I saw some videos of that on social media.
That was down here that was in Clearwater, wasn't it? Right in Florida.
Right. they're protesting to open the gyms by showing that they don't really need to open the gyms because they're working out outside. It's so stupid.
It's kind of relaxing to be
counterintuitive.
outside. Like,
So, being up in New York in the fitness industry and down here, I've kind of been some of the gyms. I know a lot of the gym owners, and we've kind of put our own strategic team together of people that understand what's going on and like, how should we approach this when they do say to open up? And is it a matter of limiting the amount of people that can go in at once? Is it a matter of, and we've been sending surveys out too, they have been to their clients of like, when will you feel safe coming in? What will make you feel, do you want to be wearing a mask? Do you want to limit the amount of people? Should everybody have their own, 10 by 10 space? So I think there's a few different ways that it's going to be approached. I'm always in smaller gyms anyway, like private owned gyms. So I don't know about the big box gyms and how they're going to handle that. But I think in a private gym, it's just a matter of like, I guess it's touching the equipment that's really, to me, is like, how is that going to be handled? Is somebody going to come over and wipe that equipment down when you're done with it? And like, I personally train in Olympic weightlifting, so I have to touch plates, all different numbers and plates. Like, am I going to have a rack to myself, like a whole area, and then I just make sure that, are they going to come wipe the entire thing down when I'm done with it? Like, how is that going to work? So there's a lot that has to be addressed there. And I think if gyms can be working out outside, then that's great. Take the class outside if it's a group class. I've seen people taking spin bikes outside, even like rolling the whole class outside. That's probably better than being inside.
That's the
Muscle
best
Beach
thing
is gonna
about
be
being
packed.
down here. Oh, big time.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, that's the great, honestly, one of the positives that's coming from this pandemic is I've always been somebody that tries to jog and walk around the neighborhood and ride my bike as well. But now it's like, it's flooded. The sidewalks have people walking all up and down, and just kids riding their bikes, people I haven't seen in the neighborhood since I've lived here. So, you have to look at some kind of positive that you're going to take from this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of why I stayed down here too, is like, I can go out and play tennis now if I want to. Well, now that the parks are open, right? They had the park shut down on us too, which wasn't fun, but we can do that. We can ride a bike if we want. We can go for a run and we can avoid people, but in New York, they don't have that luxury. So that's part of why I stayed down here.
I don't blame you.
All right, so you're giving some great advice here. No snacking, no fried food, big for your clients. Do you have any last piece of advice for the average Joe just sitting at home who's working from home? Is there anything that they can do to better their health during the situation?
Yeah, I think now is really the time to think about what you're doing, what you're eating. You don't have the excuses of, I have to go out to dinner, I have to travel, I don't have time to cook. You do now, and you've kind of caught up with things. So it's time to really pay attention to what's going into your body. And like I said, once again, beverages, like try to drink more water. Just be aware of how much water you're drinking throughout the day. Try to remove snacks and try to make meals and try to really look. It's so easy nowadays to get a healthy recipe. Just make a big meal that you can have for more than one meal too. So I'd always tell people, when you think of meal prep, you think of these like portioned out, controlled meals. It doesn't have to be that way. It means make a meal that's going to last for 4 meals and that you have, so that you don't have to go in that kitchen and cook every single meal. And it takes a lot of stress off you, and it's healthy and it's there. And it's going to prevent you from going down the bad road or for calling a pizza or calling for Chinese.
Very true.
I'm all for being in the kitchen. So you don't have to motivate me anymore, but there's a lot of people who's going to need motivating to make sure that they can be in that kitchen, and it's fun. Honestly, my co-host, him and his wife, they've been making these great videos of them two in the kitchen. So, it's bringing people together. I'm just trying to look at the positive side.
Yeah, no, there is, and even families, it's a good time. So a lot of people have asked me, do you work with student athletes, and youth? And I didn't in the past, and I'm starting to expand to that during this, because I've seen my clients teaching their kids that are home, 16, 17 years old, like, time to learn what you're eating in the kitchen. So that's been great. They've been more responsible and able to learn how to cook better for themselves and eat healthier for themselves. And if they're not going to necessarily be in a classroom going back to school in the fall, I think it's going to be even more opportunity for student athletes to learn how to eat better.
Yeah. Well, that's some good insight. That's some good insight. I hope a lot of people learned something from this interview. I know I have. You're going to be a little voice in the back of my head, like I said. So you're going to help me out. You're going to help a lot of other people out.
As soon as this is over, I'm coming down to see if that fryer's still there.
No, I'm gonna put it back in the garage for a couple of weeks. I promise. I have a goal. I want to hit my goal, so I'll be there. But
next time we'll have you on. We'll have you on in like a month or two, and hopefully you won't be able to recognize us anymore. We'll be so skinny.
Yeah, right.
Sun's out, guns out.
Sun's out, guns out.
For
but
sure.
Jaclyn, thank you for coming on. This has been very informative.
Thanks
Hope
for having me
everybody
on.
learned something out there. And stay safe through all this.
Thank you. You too.
All right. We'll
Appreciate
see you
you
guys
coming
next
on.
time.
Bye.